Yes, indeed. What's going on to the first ever episode of Let Wayne Explain. Come on in, the water's just fine. All right, look, now, first of all, a lot of y'all know me from Call It How I See It. That was a podcast, and it was a good thing. But now we got a new thing, Let Wayne Explain. So for those of y'all that know about it, welcome back. Told y'all I was coming back. And the studio's still under construction. It's been wild ahead. But anyway, and for those of y'all that don't know me, welcome to the show. So let's get right on into it. Now, currently constructed, the football game is this Thursday. The Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. I got some quick thoughts on that real quick. I got some thoughts on a couple things that's transpired. A couple things, not just that. This ain't me on IG and TikTok hitting quick fix. No, brother, we gonna sit down and fellowship today, baby. But anyway, so first of all, I think Baltimore's gonna win the game. Let me just get that out there. This is what I really been wanting to see. I like seeing great people on great teams. I like to see greatness team up with great. I've never really been one to just hate on the whole super team thing. If you great, I want to see the best get with the best. I just think it's good for everybody involved. I just really believe that. So, having said that, that whole Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, a top running back and a top quarterback together, that's going to be a lot to deal with. And I thought Baltimore should have beat the Chiefs last year, but they, stopped running the ball for whatever reason. And that's okay. But I bet you they don't stop running the ball this year. And the thing with the Chiefs, I know they start out slow, but I just don't think we're going to see the same thing we've seen out of Kansas City. I just don't believe that. Their defense is going to be cool. Their offense will be all right, too. I mean, they got Patrick Mahomes, shoot. But the Baltimore, that's going to be tough to deal with. That's going to be really tough to deal with. So I just believe that right there. I'm talking about because you can't load the box. Can't do that. Can't sit out there. Because you do that, guess what? Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews going to have a field day. You try to deal with container and try to get them edges set, guess what? Now you got a whole other problem. So I just want to see how, from a defensive standpoint, how do you handle that? How do you guard that? I don't know. I ain't never been no football coach, but I tell you this, I played them on Madden, and it did not go well for me. It did not go well for me. But we ain't gonna talk about that, because we ain't here to talk about Madden. We here to talk about and my light went off. Ain't that about it? Anyway, so that's what I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. So something else I want to talk about, like everybody talks about, the Dallas Cowboys. So they got their deal done. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't expect a whole lot from Dallas this year. Not really. I expect them to be more interesting than good. You see what I mean? Just because you're interested don't mean you're good. I'm not saying they're going to be a bad football team, but I just don't. I'm just not high on them like I was last year. Because, Jerry Jones is self-proclaimed the only GM that can run the Cowboys. When in reality, if Jerry Jones, the GM, was the manager of the Giants, he'd been fired. If he was the GM of the Panthers, he'd been fired. He'd been the manager of the Vikings, guess what? Fired. Eagles, fired. Commanders, fired. Seattle, fired. Fired. If you could only win, you ain't won nothing since 1995. You got 2 playoff wins in 8 years. Yeah, you do good in the regular season, you do all that. But when you need it the most, can you do it? Survey says you can't. Hell, Jerry would fire Jerry if he was looking at himself. He would do that. But, that whole thing about Jerry Jones, it just speaks of arrogance. And, that's why they're not winning. Now, to his credit, they do have I think they got the top winning percentage in football. They do draft well. They do get I mean, they put Pro Bowlers on the roster every year. They knock it out. They knock it out the park more often than not. And yeah, they always seem like they having contract disputes with somebody. Yeah, he waits a little longer than what he probably should. But guess what? At the end of the day, he does get it done. So I gotta look at that too. So is Jerry? I mean, Jerry's not great, but he's fine. He's fine. Yep. It is what it is. And until he gets out of the way, that's why I can't put him in the Super Bowl conversation. That's what we can do. We can talk about Jerry and what he said and what he did and what he's not going to do. But at the end of the day, Super Bowl conversation, we can't put the Cowboys in there. We can't put the Cowboys in there. Whether you want to talk about the organization or if you want to talk about the quarterback, Dak Prescott. And let's talk about Dak Prescott. So, Dak Prescott is up for a contract. Would I pay Dak? Max money? No. Some money? Yes. I just don't know what, because you know once you pay your quarterback, when you pay them big time dollars, your cap is shot. So much for getting everything else you want. So, and I don't know what Dak's willing to take or what he's really wanting. I'm not in the room with Dak Prescott, so I don't know what he's asking for. But more often than not, these players want the bag, usually. And more often than not, they get it. So, but my thing is, are we sure we're better, the Cowboys are better with Dak? I don't know if they are or not, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so, because I don't have Dak as a top 10 quarterback. I don't. Me personally. Now, some people put him in there, and that's fine. I understand. I'm not here to hate on it. I got him right there about 11 or 12. That's just me, myself personally. But it's fine. But I'm not killing Dak for not winning a Super Bowl either, because some things deserve context. Outside, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks. It's a lot of good quarterbacks. But guess what? Outside of Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Russell Wilson, who else winning? And Matt Stafford. Forgot about Matt Stafford. So four quarterbacks that are currently playing right now that's won a Super Bowl. And we know Russell's not a top 10 quarterback. Matt Stafford, I got him top 10 for sure. I got Matt Stafford top 5. So Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he's probably top 10 still. So my thing is, like Lamar Jackson, he's got MVPs. He's not won a Super Bowl. So if Lamar Jackson hadn't won a Super Bowl, why are we killing Dak Prescott for not winning a Super Bowl? You see what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts hadn't won a Super Bowl. So if Jalen Hurts hadn't won a Super Bowl, why are we killing Dak Prescott? You see what I'm saying? Josh Allen, who I actually think is the second best QB in the game, he hadn't won a Super Bowl. So if he hadn't won a Super Bowl, why are we killing Dak Prescott? You see what I'm saying? There are better quarterbacks than Dak that hadn't won a Super Bowl. So that's why the whole Super Bowl thing, oh, he ain't won a Super Bowl, I get. But then there's something to be said about them playoff wins too. Because there are QBs that got way more playoff wins than Dak. There are QBs that's been to the AFC or NFC championship. There are teams that's gotten to the Super Bowl. Maybe not won it, but gotten there. So, Brock Purdy's got rosters loaded. But I can make a case the Cowboys rosters, they've been stacked too. So there are caveats and there is context, but it can't just be all about the Super Bowl. But the playoff wins, I think that's a very, very, very fair point. That's why I wouldn't keep Dak, because if we got Dak, you know where you're going. You're not going to make it any farther than what you've already been, give or take a playoff win here and there. 8 years in, we know what we're getting. We know what we're getting. So I would move on personally. I would move on, because then you get you a younger quarterback, and you can pay everybody else. You can pay Micah. You can pay somebody else you got coming down the line. And you don't like paying people no way. So if you don't like paying folks, then roll on. And Dak Prescott, he tired of Jerry Jones anyway. Y'all heard him say, I pretty much stopped listening to Jerry in the media a while ago. He ain't even listening to the owner. Because a lot of that's, kind of grandstanding, really. So I get it with Jerry. And right back on Jerry, hate him or love him as a GM. The brother, he done made the Cowboys the most valuable franchise in sports. 10 billion. 10 billion reasons why he's in there. So, hey, he know how to he might not be able to win a championship, but that brother can make some money. And that brother can keep people talking about him. So, I think it is what it is with that whole thing. So, that's where I'm at on that. What else been going on, y'all? What else has been going on? That's my whole, what else? College football has been going on. I don't know what y'all think about that. But for those of y'all that hadn't been following me, I'm high on Texas. I'm sky high on Texas. I think Texas is going to win the SEC. I think Texas is going to be in the national championship. I think they're going to be playing against Oregon, the Ducks. That's just me. I think Alabama, they look good. Alabama, and it was funny because the closer the season got, the better I felt about Alabama. That's weird how that happened to me because, look, I know it was just Western, but they won 63-0, and they didn't start out great. Between the headset thing, fumbles, the offense not being together, they still came together and smacked. And that defense was lights out the whole time. Nothing to say about the defense. But I think this was like a breath of fresh air. So I think he came in at the right time. Like, Kalen came in at the right time. Fresh off a national championship appearance. The brother win everywhere he go. And it seemed like he got that offense humming. We seeing a whole new Jalen Milroe. And he was good already. I think he's at no worse right where he was. So they got 17. They got that brother 17. Was Ryan Williams 17 years old? 2 tubs week 1. That'll work. I think they said he ain't gonna be 18 till February. Good luck dealing with them. So it seems like Bama. I know I just sat there and said Texas is gonna win the SEC, but they gonna still have to see Bama. And that was my prediction. I predicted Alabama and Texas in the SEC championship. Not Georgia. Georgia still got to show me something. They let me know they can still be had. They can be had. So I don't think Georgia's gonna be there. Not in the SEC championship. I think that's gonna be Texas, Alabama again. And I'm picking Texas. I'm picking Texas to win the SEC, but that's a lot. And remember, Texas beat Alabama last year, but this ain't quite the same. Matter of fact, they beat them in Tuscaloosa. They beat them in T-Town by double digits at that. Yeah, I think they won by double digits. So this ain't gonna be the same. It's not gonna be the same thing. So yeah, that's a nice little fun fact, but it's something to be said about that, because this Bama team don't feel like the same Bama team from last year. These boys feel dangerous, they feel explosive, and they feel vicious. And they look focused. They look focused. Despite all the adversities they went through, they still showed up. And I can't unsee that. I can't act like I didn't unsee that. So that's my take on them. That's my take on Texas. That's my take on Alabama. Georgia, look, I think they're good on defense. I'm not high on them on offense. Because it was really Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers dependent. They were that, and I just want to see what they look like without the 2 said players. I know Trevor wasn't there, but Trevor will be back. So whenever Trevor get there, I think everything's gonna work itself out. But right now, it's a lot of meat left on that bone, and that was against Clemson. And Clemson ain't the same team they used to be. I think we can all agree with that. I feel like if Georgia was who they said they are, they're supposed to jump all over Clemson. If they like that, right? Or maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. But I just think Georgia is. I feel like it's Texas, Alabama, and then Georgia. Then you can put it whoever you want to. But Ole Miss and them 76 points. Good Lord. And Missouri's gonna have something to say about this conversation too. At the SEC, they loaded. I think they had 4 teams beat people by 60 plus. That's a lot. So the SEC, we all know the SEC is the best conference though. Nobody's here to debate that. So, but no, my biggest takeaway, Texas and Bama looked impressive week one. Week one. Everybody else better catch up. To sum it all up, that's where it's at for me. That's where it's at for me myself personally. So something else I wanted to segue into. Something else I wanted to talk about real quick. I try not to do this. I really do. But we got to talk about the Carolina Panthers for a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's not what I do. That's not, I know, for those that don't know, y'all know I'm a Panther fan, but I just got to get this out there. Because this episode 1, baby. This episode 1. So for those of y'all that know, I'm a Panther fan. Not biased. I try to, it ain't like I'm over here talking about the Panthers every show. I'm not going to do that. That's not how we operate. But I do want to say something. To have Carolina ranked 32 out of 32 teams is insane to me. Y'all, everybody talking about who the sleeper team. This your sleeper right now. We talking about a team that's got a revamped offensive line, a new coach, which we needed. Frank Wright should have never been there to begin with, but that's something else. We ain't got to go there. And then you got Deontay Johnson, who I think is very underrated. You got Adam Thielen, reliable. Chuba Hubbard, he's a decent running back. He can move the chains on you. And we still got QB1, Bryce Young, who got dealt a bad hand. He got put in a bad situation last year. And based on what we've seen, he looked good in preseason for whatever we saw. Whatever you want to make out of that, he looked good. He looked good for how we saw him and what little we saw him. So I think they're gonna be good in that division. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna win that division. I know Atlanta did a lot. Atlanta showed what they can really do. They got edge rushing. They already had the best safety in football. They needed a quarterback, and doggone it, they went and got 2 of them with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. And, Bijan Robinson, the running back who they already got. So their offense is solid. Defense is solid. I mean, they got 12 games wrote all over them. But I just don't think, when dealing with us, they're not going to win 12 games. And they got the schedule. I think they got the second easiest schedule in the league. So you got an easy schedule. You got a new quarterback. You beefed up your defense a little bit. You got a new coach. Looked like they did right staying away from Belichick. And, man, I think that's it. I think they're a good team. And if the Panthers don't win it, it's going to be Atlanta. It's going to be Atlanta. There's a lot of reasons to pick Atlanta. I know it ain't going to be the Saints. I know that. I know it's not going to be Tampa Bay. I know that. I feel like Carolina and Atlanta's the only teams you can really mention for real. And a lot of people that really speak on Carolina seem to be the ones that seen them the less. The ones that say the most, seen them the less. How that works, Sway? How that work? It don't. That's the answer to that question. So I just wanted to touch on that. Really want to touch base with y'all, let y'all know I'm in here. Like, subscribe. I'm on YouTube now, and guess what? The studio, as y'all gonna see, it's gonna slowly get better and better. So remember this episode. Remember this office. It's gonna get better because we only coming up, baby. We only coming up. And I'll be back. I will be back. You gonna see me again. You mark my words, all right? It's the Let Wayne Explain show. Tell your friends. Tell everybody. So to recap, I got Texas winning the SEC. I'm looking forward to that week 1 game. Baltimore Chiefs, like everybody else is. Carolina's a sleeper. And the Cowboys gonna do cowboy things, and that's okay. That's okay. They're not terrible, but they're better than you think. Y'all marinate on that. All right, man. I'm out. I'll catch y'all later.